Okay, right. Now in today's class we are going to see your electric flux and Gauss law. So first part we are going to see electric flux, and then we will define your flux, and then we will go to Gauss law. Now first of all, okay, you need to understand field lines a little. If you have a charge q, okay, if this charge q is positive, then what happens is your field lines will be away from positive charge like this. Okay, so for a positive charge, field lines are away. Okay, and I want you to remember these points, basic points. Your field lines are away from positive charge and they will be towards negative charge. Okay, towards negative charge. And another important point is your field lines will originate and terminate perpendicular to surface. Now keep these points in mind. I will talk about electric field lines later, but if you have a positive charge, your field lines will be like this, and your tangent to field line gives direction of field. Okay, keep these points in mind for now. Okay, I will talk about electric field lines separately later, but because I am explaining flux, I need these field lines. Okay, so next, if you have a negative charge minus q, your field lines will be towards this negative charge like this. Okay, and remember, they will originate and terminate perpendicular to surface like this. Okay, here, everywhere. Okay, they will originate and terminate like this. Okay, right. So this is how you will have your field lines. Okay, now in general, okay, how your field is dependent on the charge configuration. Now if you have a field line like this, at a particular point, if you want field, just simply draw tangent here. If this is 1, at point 1 E1 is this way. If this is 2, at point 2 your electric field E2 bar is this way. So you will have your electric field direction like this. Okay, it will be tangential to the field lines. Okay, right. So this is your field line. Okay, now this small introduction is enough for me to continue further. Now to say flux is present in a region, okay, then what is that you need is your field lines. Okay, so that is why I am talking of field lines first. Okay, so to have flux you must have field. Without field there is no flux. Okay, right. So I am erasing this part. So keep these points in mind. Okay, now if you have a charge and let us say that is producing some field. Now, okay, remember an important point, that is, okay, your field lines Okay, how many you will keep is your choice. So what do I mean by this is your number of field lines is directly proportional to charge. So what is the meaning, I will tell you. Now for example, if I have a charge q like this, on this charge q, for charge q, if I keep two field lines here, for a charge 2q I have to keep 4 field lines like this. Okay, right, getting my point? If 2 then 4, because direct proportionality. Okay, if I keep 4 lines then I will have 16 lines. If I have 5 lines then 10. Okay, how many lines you keep is your choice completely, but for this charge if you are keeping 2 you have to keep 4 here. For this charge if you are keeping 4 then you have to keep 16. For this charge if you are keeping 5 you have to keep 10 like this. Okay, so if this much then this much. Okay, so my point here is your field lines, okay, how many you draw is completely of your choice, but you have to stick to the proportionality logic here. Okay, right, keep this point in mind. Okay, how many you draw, it is completely of your choice. If you are drawing 1000 lines here, then you have to draw 2000 here, completely of your choice. Oh sorry, if 4 then it is 8. Yeah, so here if it is 1000 lines then it is 2000. Okay, so completely it is proportionality logic here. Okay, now why did I discuss this, I will tell you. Okay, so what is your flux? To know that, okay, so you need to know an idea from fluid mechanics. Now for example, okay, let us say you have a surface like this. Okay, so I am drawing a box like this. Now okay, in this box, okay, let us say you are 10 field lines, 1 2 3 4, let us say 3 lines are 4 rows, 4 into 4, totally 16 lines are coming out like this. Okay, how many lines? 16 field lines like this. Okay, totally 16 field lines are piercing this surface. Okay, that means your field is coming out, your field lines are coming out. Okay, sorry, going into the plane, or you can put it out of the plane, that is of your choice. So here I have placed into the plane, so that means field lines are going in. Okay, right, or you can take out, no issues. Now if you look from other side, this is out of the plane. Okay, if you are looking from other side, or if you are considering, let us say field lines are coming out like this, let us say 20 lines are there like this, 2 3 4 5, totally 20 field lines are there. Okay, let us not consider this case. Okay, right, so totally let us say there are 20 lines. Now what is that I am going to do is, okay, what is your flux means, your flux is, okay, your flux, that is your electric flux is directly proportional to number of field lines. Okay, and we will talk about it later, I will define flux later, but remember that your flux is directly proportional to number of field lines. Now if I tilt this paper upwards like this, okay, then what happens is the field lines that will come out of this will not pass through the surface. Initially when it is like this, how many lines are passing through this means 20. Now if I slightly tilt it upwards, okay, only 3 rows of lines are going out like this, that means only 3 into 5, 15 lines are going. Okay, Now keep this point in mind. So here my point is, if you have a cross section like this, okay, now initially if field lines are going like this, okay, now totally 20 lines are going like this, okay, I am showing the side view, okay, front view. So now here how many lines are going through this means, let us say 20 lines, okay, according to this. But if I am slightly tilting it upwards, less number of lines are going. Now instead of this figure, if I tilt it like this, okay, initially when it is like this, around 20 lines will go. But if I slightly tilt it, okay, so here what happens is, your number of field lines that are going through this surface will automatically reduce, okay. So here my point is, okay, so your field lines will go, less number of field lines will go through the surface like this if you are tilting it like this, okay. So in this case, your effective portion, okay, this part is your effective area here, okay. Only in that pink color line, how many field lines are going, only those lines will go through the tilted surface, okay. This is your tilted surface, okay. So here my point is, okay, initially when it is exactly like this, all the 20 lines are going, there is more flux. But when you are tilting it, you have less number of field lines, less flux, okay. Hope you have understood what I have explained. Only the field lines that are going through this pink color portion, only those will go through this tilted surface. The lines that are coming out in the bottom layer, here, all these lines, okay, this shaded portion part, no lines will go. All the lines that are going through this, they will go without piercing the yellow color surface, okay. Now from this I am going to define my electric flux, okay. Your electric flux definition is, okay, right, your electric flux definition is, phi electric is equal to, okay, it is actually closed integral of E bar dot dA bar for closed surfaces. So now what is that your flux is? It is your integral of electric field into area, okay. Your flux definition, small flux d phi is E times small area dA into cos theta, okay. D phi is EDA cos theta, okay. It is dot product of electric field and area vector, okay. So here what is your area vector means, your area vector is this way, okay. Your angle E bar is this way, this angle is theta, okay. So if you are taking small flux, d phi is equal to E times dA cos theta like this. For the entire surface, if you are taking, okay, if E bar is constant, that means if electric field is constant across the surface, then what is your flux means, your flux is E bar dot A bar, that is equal to EA cos theta like this. This is how you define your electric flux, and unit is Weber, okay. So what is your flux means, it is your electric field into area, that too if it is constant you have to take dot product, okay. If it is constant you have to take dot product of electric field and area vector. If it is varying, you have to do dot product, but you have to integrate it, okay. So you can say that there is flux when field lines will pierce the surface, and when you are piercing, this is how you are supposed to take it, okay. So this is your basic idea of flux, okay. Your flux is nothing but dot product of electric field into area, okay. So it depends upon how the area is there or how the surface is there. If surface is normal, it will be different. If surface is different, it will be like this, okay. So you can say flux when there is field, okay. Without field lines piercing the surface, there is no flux, okay. This is how you are going to calculate your flux, okay. Right, now I will erase this, I will keep elaborating. Now here If nothing is mentioned, consider uniform electric field. Now let us say there is a surface. Okay, first we will consider cases where uniform electric field is present. Now let us say you have an surface like this and your field is E. Now in this case, what is your area vector means? Your area vector will be perpendicular to surface, it will be like this. Okay, your area is a vector quantity. So now here what is the angle between E bar and A bar means? Here it is 0, and I told you if nothing is mentioned, consider uniform electric field. So here in this case your electric field is EA cos 0, because angle between them is 0, that will become EA. Okay, right? This is your first example. Now let us consider a case, okay, where in which you have your field lines going like this. Now if you observe this figure, field lines are not going through the area. So in this case, if you take your area vector is this way, your field vector is this way. Okay, now angle is 90 degrees. So in this case your electric flux is given by EA cos 90, that is equal to EA into 0, that is equal to 0. Okay, so which is pretty clear that here these field lines are not piercing this surface. Okay, so I will write that clearly. Flux will be there, flux will be present only when field lines pierce the, okay, only when field lines pierce the surface. So in this case there is no piercing, so there is no field like this. Okay, so your electric flux is going to be 0. Okay, right? Next, your third case is, let us say you have a surface like this, but you have tilted it like this. So in this case, okay, your electric field lines are like this. Now your E bar is this way, and if you are tilting by angle theta, your area vector also will tilt by theta. So this is your E bar, this is your A bar, this is theta. Your electric flux is going to be EA cos theta like this. Okay, and this A cos theta area is actually called as, okay, projected area or normal area. Okay, projected area or normal area. Now many people could ask me a question that, sir, why did you take area vector to be only this way? Why you did not take it in the opposite direction? I will tell you only one thing, no issues at all, you can take anything, but for open surfaces you have to take only one, either upwards or downwards. In this case it is either upwards or downwards. In this case either it is towards right or towards left. Okay, right? And here also it is the same, you can take area vector upwards or downwards, but for open surfaces, okay, take only one normal. Okay, open surfaces take only one normal, do not consider both, either that or this, and stick to it for the whole question that you are doing it. Okay, so for open surfaces this is how you calculate the flux when field is constant. Okay, now what is this projected area or normal area business? I will tell you. So we will try to do a question and then I will explain your flux idea further. Okay, right? Now let us try to do a question. So let us say you have a hemispherical surface. Okay, right? So here let us say you have a hemispherical surface like this, right? Now what is happening is, I am going to consider electric field E coming downwards like this. Let us say your radius is R. Question is, find flux through hemisphere. Now, even now your flux is constant, no doubt about it. Okay, I am still trying to calculate flux for open surfaces. So, in this figure, if you observe carefully, okay, in this hemisphere, I want you to calculate flux. Now, many people will think the answer is, okay, flux phi electric is equal to E times what is surface area means 2 pi r square is the surface area of hemisphere. So, what is the flux through hemisphere means E into A. So, they will just simply write E times 2 pi r square like this. But it is wrong. Okay. For shapes like this, okay, I'll discuss something after I do the basic calculation, and then I'll explain what is that and how you are getting it. Okay. So here we need the effective or projected area. That effective or projected area is this base area of pi r square. How you will get it, I'll explain now. Observe carefully. Okay. So hope you have copied down the question. Now I will take a small strip and then I will integrate. I will draw a bigger figure. So let me draw a figure. So let us say this is my figure. Now I will try to calculate flux through a small strip here. So for a hemisphere, how to take the strip we have seen previously. So there is no point in repeating. So here let me take a small strip here. This angle is theta, this is d theta. Small area vector dA will be this way. Okay. And if you define your axis here, okay, your xy axis, if you define it here, if this angle is theta, this will be theta, this will be theta, and your electric field vector is downwards like this. Okay, your E bar is this way. Okay, your area vector is perpendicular to the surface, your electric field is this way. Angle between these two is 180 minus theta is the angle between your electric field and dA vector. Okay, area vector is perpendicular to the surface. Here across the small area it is like that. Okay, right. Now I will try to calculate, okay, your small area dA. If you cut this patch and stretch it, okay, its length is 2 pi r sin theta, your width is r d theta, your small area dA is 2 pi r square sin theta d theta. This we have seen previously. Okay, how to take strip for this object I have explained clearly. Now your small flux d phi across this elemental strip, how much it is means, it is E bar dot dA bar, that is E into dA into cos of, what is the angle between E and dA means, it is 180 minus theta. Right? Any doubts? So your small flux d phi is E times dA into cos of 180 minus theta, because my flux definition is that. Okay, your small flux d phi is E bar dot dA bar. To get whole flux you have to integrate it. So that will give you E times, here E is constant of course. Okay, right. So E is constant. Your small area dA is 2 pi r square sin theta d theta times cos of 180 minus theta. Cos of 180 minus theta is minus cos theta. So your small flux d phi is equal to E times pi r square times, okay, minus of sin 2 theta d theta. Okay, I am writing 2 sin theta cos theta as sin 2 theta. So if I continue further, okay, so I will get total flux phi is equal to integral of d phi, so minus of E pi r square times sin 2 theta d theta from theta equal to 0 to theta equal to 90 degrees. If theta is 0, this ring will be on the top. If theta is 90, ring comes to the bottom part. So that will give you minus e times pi r square into, what is integral of sine 2 theta means? It is cos 2 theta minus cos 2 theta by 2 from 0 to pi by 2. So minus minus will cancel off. So you are going to get e times pi r square times cos 2 theta by 2 times 0 to pi by 2. I have taken 2 out. So that will give you e times pi r square by 2 times cos pi minus cos 0. Cos 0 is 1, cos pi is minus 1. So e times pi r square by 2 times minus 2. Okay, cos 180 value is minus 1. Minus 1 minus 1, that will give you 2. So you are going to get minus e times pi r square. That is equal to minus of e times your projected or normal area. Okay, so what is this projected or normal area? I will explain now, but after integration you got this much. Okay, so what is the other way in which, without doing all this integration, what is the other way you can calculate this projected or normal area? I will tell you now. Okay, so copy it down. I will explain this projected area idea. For open surfaces, you have to consider this projected or normal area. What is this projected or normal area? I will explain now. Copy it down fast. Set up the function. Do this. Okay. All right. Now so what is this projected area business? I will tell you. So there is a famous dialogue in Telugu Tollywood industry. Balakrishna is the hero. He says, okay, Adya, I don't know in which movie it is, I forgot, but what is that you are supposed to do is, okay, whatever object you have, imagine that there is a type of fruit of that shape. Okay, now what is that you are supposed to do is, you have to cut that fruit perpendicular to field. Okay, imagine a fruit present of that shape. Okay, and then try to cut it perpendicular to field. Now across which region juice comes out, okay, that juice region is your perpendicular area. So what is my point is, as an example, let us say you have, okay, a fruit of this shape. Okay, right, some imaginary fruit, okay, lemon something. Now let us say your field is coming this way. Okay, now if you cut this fruit perpendicular to field, okay, you are cutting this field, you are cutting this fruit perpendicular to the field like this. If you cut it, okay, your juice comes out of this portion. Okay, you imagine a fruit of this shape, okay, of whichever object is there, and you cut it perpendicular to field. If you are cutting perpendicular to field, okay, your juice comes out of this portion. This portion area is pi r square. So your flux is E times pi r square. This pi r square is called your projected or normal area. Projected or normal area. Okay, so your flux is E times pi r square. Okay, I will give some more clarity. You can assume that projected area is, let us say you have a tent of this shape. Okay, if you have a tent of this shape, when rain falls like this, okay, what is the area across which you can stay without getting wet is, you can stay in across an area of pi r square becoming without wet. Okay, so your projected area is can also be defined as area that doesn't become wet when rain falls onto this kind of object or tent like this, or if light is falling from the top like this, okay, you will have shadow of across an area of pi r square, because any region other than this pi r square you will have light. Okay, so shadow region will be present only across an area of pi r square. Okay, so what is your projected area means, you can assume your projected area to be area that doesn't become wet when rain falls, okay, or shadow, area of shadow when light falls, area of shadow when light falls on that particular object like this. Okay, hope you have understood it and there is no doubt. Right, so this is your area. Okay, this is your projected area or normal area. Now best idea is this. Okay, in which direction, assume that there is a fruit of that shape and cut it accordingly, and across which area juice comes out, that is only your projected or normal area without taking the peel of it. Okay, now in this scenario, okay, one more example I will give it. Let us say, okay, you have your field lines coming like this, your electric field is E like this. Okay, now what is going to happen here is your radius is R. Now let us say it is coming like this, field is coming like this. Now what is your normal area means, think logically, if you have a fruit or lemon of this shape, if you cut it like this, juice comes out across an area of how much? You will get a semicircular peel like this, right? Juice comes out of only that semicircular region. So here what is your projected area means, it is half of circle, it is pi r square by 2. So what is your flux means, E times pi r square by 2. Okay, right? So this is your basic idea. Okay, imagine a fruit of that shape, and if you are cutting it perpendicular to the field, okay, if you are cutting that fruit perpendicular to the field, okay, inside the fruit you will have juice. So that juice coming out or oozing out, okay, that region is your projected area. So in this case it is pi r square by 2. Next, one more example I can give is, let us say you have a cone like this. So now for this cone, let us say radius is R, height is H. Now let us say your field is like this. Now what is your flux means, it is E times, okay. So if you are cutting the fruit like this, then across this area of pi r square juice comes out. So E times pi r square is the normal or projected area. Okay, right? I have just, for understanding, I have drawn it little up. Or if rain is falling without becoming wet, okay, only this region will be there. Or if light is falling, shadow will be casted across an area of this much. Now your next idea is, if field lines are coming from this side, what is your projected or normal area? Let us say radius is R, height is H. So what is your normal or projected area in this case means, so if you imagine carefully, okay, what happens here is, you will get a triangular shape like this, where in which this radius is R, this radius is R, this height is H. So what is your projected area means, it is in the shape of triangle. So if you cut this fruit like this, this triangular portion is across which juice comes out. So your projected area is half into base 2r into height is H 2 will go off, so you are going to get RH. Your flux is E times R into H. This is your flux through that cone. Okay, right? So this is your basic idea of projected or normal area. Okay, now why did I discuss this much? I will tell you. So every time, okay, you don't need to integrate from the basic definition. Okay, you don't need to integrate. If you have constant electric field, okay, stick to these basic definitions. Okay, right? Next, I am erasing this part. Hope you have understood how to calculate flux when field is given. Okay, right. Next, now all these surfaces are open surfaces. So for open surfaces, this is how you are going to calculate the field. Now for closed surface, how to do it and all, I will tell you. So now from this story that I have explained, okay, what is the conclusion is, your surfaces are of two types. Okay, one is open surface. Okay, all the figures that I have discussed so far are open surfaces. Okay, and second type is closed surface. Okay, you have two types of surfaces, open surface and closed surface. For open surface, okay, take any one normal. Okay, take any one normal. Okay, so my point is, if you have area vector, A bar is either top or bottom, no, take any one, either top one or bottom one, but not both. Okay, for closed surfaces, okay, stand inside the body, okay, stand inside the body and take outward normal. Okay, stand inside the body and take outward normal. Okay, so what is this outward normal business? I will tell you now. Okay, so for open surfaces, if you have variable field, do E bar dot dA bar for open surface. Here I did not keep closed integral, I have just simply left it as such. Okay, and in that too, if E bar is constant, okay, if electric field is constant, two possibilities. Your flux is just simply EA cos theta, or if you know the projected area, it is E times your projected or normal area. Okay, but if you have variable field, integration is only the choice that you have. Okay, you don't have any other choice here for integration part. Okay, now coming to closed surface. Okay, for closed surfaces, what is that you are supposed to do is, you have to take outward normal. That means, let us say you have a cuboid like this. So for this cuboid, okay, what is your outward normal means? Okay, for left face, A left, for right face, A right, for top face, A top, for bottom face, A bottom, for backward face, A back. Okay, and for front face, you have to take A front like this. So somebody should stand inside and you have to take the outward normal with respect to person standing inside the box. Okay, right? So this is how you calculate your electric field, electric flux when you have open and closed surfaces. Now I will discuss in detail about the closed surfaces. Copy it down. I will discuss about closed surfaces. So for closed surfaces, how is that you are going to calculate the flux? Okay, so closed surface, what is to be done? Okay, so through applications I will discuss. let us say you have a cuboid like this. Now you are supposed to calculate the flux. Now let us say your electric field is acting along x-axis like this. Okay, so where is your x-axis means this is your x-axis, this is your y, this is your z-axis. Okay, now let us say E electric field is going from left, and let us say from here to here this length is L, from here to here, or I will put A, B, height is C like this. Okay, now what is your net flux means? Your net flux is totally how many areas are there? There will be flux along that many areas. So you will have flux through left plus flux through right face plus flux through top face plus flux through bottom face plus flux through front face plus flux through back. Totally there are 6 faces to the cube. So all these 6 faces we have to calculate the flux. Okay, so your flux is a scalar quantity, so you can add it like this. Now if you try to calculate flux through left surface, it is E times, because you have constant electric field, it is E times area of left face. Your left face area is how much means this shaded portion's area is how much? B into C, because that left face is in the shape of a rectangle. For a rectangle, area is length into breadth, so that will give you E times B into C times cos of, what is the angle means? I told you, for closed surfaces, if you stand inside the box and take outward normal, area of left face is here, area of right face is here, area of top face is here, area of bottom face is here, area of front, area of back. Now area of this angle between the E bar and A bar vector is, your E bar is towards right here, angle is 180 degrees. So it is E times BC into cos 180 degrees. Okay, so that will give you minus E times BC. Okay, next flux through right surface, if you calculate E times BC into, this time the angle is cos 0, because okay, if you look into this figure, okay, your electric field is this way, okay, along x-axis, and area of right surface is also this way, so you are going to get E times BC. Now if you consider flux through top, flux through bottom, flux through front, flux through back, all these surfaces, theta is 90 degrees. Your area vector and field vector are at an angle of 90 degrees. Here the E bar and A bar is 90. Here E bar and A bar is 90. Here E bar and A bar is 90. Here E bar and A bar is 90 degrees. So for all these cases, angle between field vector and area vector for the top, bottom, front, back, it is 90 degrees. So E times area of that particular surface into cos 90, if you do, you are going to get 0. If you add net flux, flux is a scalar, minus EBC plus EBC, you are going to get net flux is equal to 0 in this case if it is uniform electric field. Okay, now from this I can say, okay, an important point. Okay, what is that is, you will have a flux. Okay, from this example, what is the conclusion is, net flux will be there through a closed surface. Okay, net flux through closed surface exists. Okay, net flux through closed surface exists only when there is charge inside. Okay, only when there is charge inside closed surface. Okay, that is the conclusion. Why? Because okay, only unless and until you have some charge, field lines will not come out. Here how many field lines are entering, that many are going out. You will have net flux only when field lines will come out or only go inside of the closed surface. But how many field lines if they enter, that many if they are leaving, then there will be no flux at all. Okay, getting my point? So here one thing that I want you to understand is, you will have flux across a surface only when there is net enclosed charge inside that surface. Okay, so only field line should be going out or only field line should be coming inside. In such a case only you will have your net flux. Okay, here you have constant electric field. Now next what is that I am going to do is, I am going to change this question and I am going to give you variable electric field. Okay, that means your electric field is varying with respect to distance. So I will draw a smaller figure and I will give it, copy it down. Okay, so what is my intention, I will tell you. So you have a surface like this. Now watch my subtraction of vectors and plotting coordinates video if you do not know what is which phase and what are its coordinates. Let us say this is your x-axis. Let us say this is my y-axis. Let us say this is my z-axis. Now what is your electric field means? In the question, let us say I am giving you E is equal to E naught times x by L I cap. Okay, right? Or let us say it is E naught x square by L square I cap, like this. Your electric field is going to vary with respect to x coordinate. Okay, here it is not constant. In the previous case we have constant electric field and we got net flux 0. Now electric field is varying with respect to surfaces like this. Now what is your question is, find flux through cuboid. Find flux through cuboid. Find flux through cuboid is your question. Okay, now this length is L, this length is B, this height is H. Okay, try it for a minute, calculate flux across each surface, then I will discuss the answer. Trying is important. I know everybody will not get the answers at once, but efforts are something that is most counted and important. Try. Alright, so I will do it. Now for left face, you take any point, it is YZ plane. Okay, left face is YZ plane. In YZ plane x coordinate is 0. Okay, in that left face across an area of BH, everywhere here this is your YZ plane. So your x coordinate is 0. So your E is equal to E naught times 0 square by L square I cap. So your field is 0. So if field is 0, flux through left face is going to be 0. Okay, right? Next, for right face, okay, so if I mark this as some PQRS like this, for entire PQRS portion your x coordinate is equal to L. Okay, any point in that plane of PQRS your x coordinate is going to be XL. So in PQRS plane, your x is equal to L, your E bar is equal to E naught by L square into I cap, that is equal to E naught I cap. Okay. Now here if you calculate flux through right face is, okay, your area vector is this way and your field is this way. So it is E A cos 0, your area is BH. So that is equal to E times BH into I cap, it is scalar quantity, it is EBH. Now for remaining faces, okay, angle theta is equal to 90 degrees. So flux through front, back, top, bottom, all are zeros. So your net flux is equal to sum of all the surfaces, that is equal to EBH. Okay. So like this you are supposed to calculate the flux. Okay. So this is how you will be calculating flux when what is given, when field is given. Okay. When field is given for open surfaces, I have told you take the normal area or projected area, and for these kind of closed surfaces stand inside the box. Okay, stand inside the box and then do the calculation. Okay, right. So with this part, okay, we are going to calculate, we have finished calculation of flux when field is given. Next, your next idea is calculation of flux when charge is given. Now when charge is given, how to calculate the flux? Now remember, okay, your flux is directly proportional to field lines. Indirectly this is directly proportional to charge. This is what I am trying to explain right from the start. Now your flux is, okay, for a closed surface, okay, for a closed surface, okay, your flux is directly proportional to charge by epsilon naught. Okay, enclosed charge by epsilon naught. Okay, for a closed surface your electric flux is directly proportional to charge enclosed by the closed surface. Okay, Q enclosed by epsilon naught. Okay, now what is that Q enclosed? I will tell you. But for a closed surface, okay, your flux is directly proportional to Q enclosed by epsilon naught. Okay, this enclosed surface is what you are going to call as Gaussian surface later, but first we will try to do basic idea questions on symmetry, then only we will go to Gauss law. Okay, but if you are asked, okay, previous all the explanation in the previous lecture or part is based on field. If you are given field, how will you calculate flux? This part is related to calculation of flux when charge is given. If you are given a charge, how will you calculate flux? So if you are given a charge, how will you calculate flux? I will explain. So first I am going to erase this part. Okay, now we will divide the field lines based on symmetry and then we will try to give the answers. So how is that? I will tell you. So let us say you are given a hemisphere like this and you have placed a charge plus Q here. Okay, you are given a hemisphere like this and you are given a charge plus Q. Now because this is positive charge, it will start sending out field lines in every possible direction. It will send out, okay, everywhere. Okay, it will try to send out field lines everywhere like this. Now if you are taking this, you cannot write q by epsilon naught because this charge q is not inside this hemisphere. If it was inside this hemisphere, my answer is q by epsilon naught according to what I have explained. Your flux is equal to enclosed charge by epsilon naught. So your field lines will be going, all the produced field lines will go through this hemisphere. But when it is placed at the interface like this or at the center, okay, all the field lines will not go through the hemisphere. Okay, if it is producing some 10,000 field lines, 5,000 will go through the top hemisphere, 5,000 will be going downwards. Okay, now you cannot give the answer. You cannot just simply write q by epsilon naught. Q by epsilon naught you can write it when this charge q is inside this hemisphere, because all the 10,000 lines being produced by this, they will go through the hemisphere. Okay, so in this case, how will you calculate field means? Okay, how you can calculate field is, if you bring another identical hemisphere like this, okay, if you are bringing another identical hemisphere, okay, this we are imagining, he will not give you in the question, okay, we are imagining the hemisphere, okay, so if I bring another hemisphere, okay, then it becomes a closed figure. So your flux through two spheres is, okay, they are enclosing a charge of q, so it is q by epsilon naught. Okay, so whatever 10,000 lines that are being produced, they will go through this full sphere. Now through hemisphere, okay, from this your flux through top sphere is half of it, because whatever field lines that are being produced, half are going through this, so it is half of q by epsilon naught, so that will give you q by 2 epsilon naught. Okay, so out of the produced field lines, q by 2 epsilon naught will go through the top original hemisphere, q by 2 epsilon naught will go through the imagined hemisphere, once again through two spheres. Okay, your charge q is inside, so you will get q by epsilon naught. Okay, hope you have understood it. This he will not give you in the question. This we are imagining. We are dividing the field lines symmetrically. Okay, right? Hope you have understood it. I am continuing further. Okay, next. Now, let us say you have a cube. Okay, now what is that I am doing is, I am placing the charge q here. Okay, question is, find flux through cube, flux through each face. Okay, so in this case, what is your answer means, flux through cube is going to become q by epsilon naught, because full cube is enclosing the charge q. It doesn't matter whether you place through this here, 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 everywhere, it is q by epsilon naught only, because the charge is once again inside. Now flux through each face is q by, there are totally 6 sides, so whatever field lines that are produced, all the sides will distribute equally on all sides, so you are going to get q by 6 epsilon naught if q is placed at center. Okay, if you shift this charge q, okay, then that is not going to be the answer. Why? Because when you are shifting this charge close to this, then more number of field lines will go through the closer sides. Okay, through bottom, through top and all, more lines, through this less number of lines will go. Okay, so whereas your q by epsilon naught is same in whichever point you keep inside the cube. Okay, right? Hope you have understood it. Okay, right? I can erase it and I will give one more question. So I am sticking to the basics and explaining basic things. Okay, I am not explaining anything big or fancy, so Don't get terrified with what is happening here. It is easy, it's not tough. Alright, next. Your next idea is let us say you have the cube find flux when Q is placed at first one middle of face, second middle of edge, third corner. In each case I want you to find out the flux. Okay, so now in chemistry you must have studied this packing fraction thing. So where in which the face centered, body centered and all you will be studying now. In a similar way I hope you can visualize. So now when you are placing it at the middle of face, okay, so now here you have the cube, you are placing it here. Now when you are placing it here in the middle, okay, if you place it here Q, this charge Q will be divided by two cubes like this. Okay, if you are bringing this charge another identical cube and closing this charge, okay, through two cubes it is Q by epsilon naught. Through one cube it will become Q by 2 epsilon naught is the answer. Okay, getting my point? Two cubes will share the flux of Q by epsilon naught. One cube will share Q by 2 epsilon naught. Whereas if you keep in the middle of edge, okay, that means if you are placing here, now totally 4 cubes, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cubes will share this charge Q or flux. So because of 1 cube it is Q by 4 epsilon naught. And finally when you are placing it at the corner, okay, totally 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom, 8 cubes will be sharing when it is on the corner. So your answer is Q by 8 epsilon naught when you are placing the charge Q on the corner. Okay, so like this we have to calculate flux when charge is given. Okay, now let me do another example. Now your next example is no wait, there is a charged ring like this. This is ring. Okay, now this I am inserting into a sphere. Okay, both radiuses are C1, C2. Okay, this is sphere, this is ring. Question is find flux through sphere. Okay, what is that you are doing is you have pushed a ring such that your radius is R. Come on, do this. Both sphere radius is R, ring radius is R, but ring is charged, its charge is Q. Okay, you are supposed to calculate flux. In the answer. Think and then give the answer. You have pushed this such that these two centers coincide. I want you to calculate flux through the sphere. Now if you are thinking logically, okay, If we calculate charge present in this length, here if it is small q, your answer is flux is equal to small q by epsilon naught. But what is that small q is what you require. Now your small q is length of arc inside times lambda, where your lambda is length of arc inside times lambda inside is total charge by total length. What is the length of arc inside when these two centers coincide? Identical radius. It is easy if you think a little. This is R, join this part is R, this part is R. So that means this angle is going to be 60 degrees, equilateral triangle. Here 60 degrees. Totally, so what is the charge length that is present here means it is forming 120 degrees. So out of the total charge 120 degrees means your length of arc is r times theta in radians. 120 degrees means it is 2 pi by 3. Okay, or you can say it is your charge is q3. 120s are 360 degrees. Okay, so q by 3 charge is present inside that, or you can write your length of arc is r times 2 pi by 3, substitute it, you are going to get q by 3 is the charge enclosed. Your flux is q by 3 whole divided by epsilon naught, that will give you q by 3 epsilon naught. Okay, so like this you can calculate the charge as well. Okay, you can calculate charge like this when fields are, when these are given. Okay, hope you have understood what I have explained. So with this part we'll stop. Okay, this flux calculation. Next we will enter into Gauss law. Okay, so now we know how to calculate flux when charge is given and field is given. Only thing that is pending is calculation of flux.